Hello guys, so today I wanted to make this video to talk about this ink. This is a Daytone ink. One of my friends sent me a whole, I'm just grabbing it, a whole box of this stuff. Different colors, you have brown here, green, and this is again a brown, royal blue. You have the number of colors, 15 bottles in total. Today I will be talking about blue black ink. I would review some of these inks in the future, which I think would be of interest to you guys. Today I want to talk about this ink. Now before I talk about the characteristics of the ink and everything, I would like to mention that this bottle is the worst bottle I have ever seen for a fountain pen ink. Okay, I mean, when you think of an ink bottle, you think of this usually, or maybe this. Okay, in which you can unscrew the cap, right? Take your pen, dip it in ink, fill it up. With this, however, just keep this aside. With this, however, you cannot do so because the neck is very narrow. It's like an eyedrop bottle, however, it's just a bit bigger. So if you want to fill an eyedropper pen, it is very easy to do so. However, if you want to fill a piston filler or a similar kind of filling system, it is not very easy. So I would say that Daytone or Daylight Industries actually which make this ink. If you are listening to me, please, this is a humble request, change your bottles. Make them something similar to this, so that they have a white mouth and you can easily fill your pen. Okay, so that being said, I don't know where I got this from. That all being said, we'll now come to the review. I have used 3 different types of paper: 100 GSM JK Cedar sheet, an 80 GSM Nightingale cream colored sheet, and I used some really cheap CubeWorks paper, which I feel represents the regular office kind of paper very well. The pens I used were these. This is the ASA iCan, this is the ASA Rainbow. The iCan has a broad, iCan has a fine nib, and the Rainbow has a broad. So first of all, I'll show you the best paper. This is the Nightingale paper. This is 80 GSM, very ink resistant. I don't know how well you can see that. I'll just zoom in a little bit. But this ink has got some really nice red-ish sheen to it. This is the fine nib, and you can see it took 4 seconds to dry, which is very nice. This is the ASA Rainbow with the broad nib. Again, it just took 6 seconds to dry. This is a very ink resistant paper. I also did a water resistant test, and it is, if you want to read, you can actually do so. As for feathering, there is none on this paper, and overall I find this ink to be very well behaved. As for bleed through, there's a little bit there, you can see that. However, that is not because of the ink, but because the tines digging into the paper. I tried to outline variation here, so the tines dug into the paper, and that is because of that. So on 80 GSM Nightingale sheets, no bleed through, no feathering, 4 seconds dry time with a fine nib, or 6 second dry time with a broad nib. That is really something. Okay, next paper we have here is very cheap paper. This is the, oh yes, I forgot, shading. There is some fair bit of shading. You can see that. Got that done. Now I'll talk about this paper. This is very cheap CubeWorks paper. I don't know the GSM. This is so cheap, I don't even know the GSM. Again, this time the fine nib took just 2 seconds to dry, and I don't know if you could tell the difference, but since this is a bit more absorbent paper, the ink looks a bit darker. As for with the broad nib, it just took 5 seconds to dry. I did the water resistant tests and no problem, you can easily see what all was written. Bleed through, yes, there is some bleed through here with the broad nib, but this is very nice considering how worse inks have performed on this paper. This is very nice performance, I would say. You can easily use this with a broad nib on both the sides, no problem. As for sheening and shading, I personally don't see any. I see some shading but not a lot of sheen. Little bit of shading but not sheen. Excuse me. Again, so this is what you could expect if you use this ink with like I said, with really cheap office kind of paper. Set that aside. Now we come to the most expensive and the paper I hate the most. This is 100 GSM JK Cedar. Why do I hate it? It is not ink resistant. It absorbs ink really fast, much faster than the Nightingale sheets, but definitely slower than the cheap CubeWorks paper I showed just a minute ago. So this is 100 GSM. ASA I use a fine nib. Here's the nib with the broad. Since this ink was absorbed very quickly, the drying times are very fascinating. 4 seconds with the broad, 3 seconds with the fine. Interesting. I again did water resistant tests and no problem at all. So those were the 3 papers. I'll show you some pool of inks and something more written which shows off the sheen a bit better. These are the passes here. The passes, I don't know what these passes actually help you in. Chromatography, I can agree, but passes, nothing, they don't help you in anything. And I still don't know really how to do chromatography. I'm still trying it out, so maybe in the future reviews you will see some. But right now, here you can see the pools of inks I was talking about. There is some really nice, lovely red sheen to these inks, to this ink actually. Here is a small quote which I wrote, which I thought of, and this too has some sheen to it. Very interesting. These again have some really nice reddish goldenish sheen. Again, this I used the other side also, but this is a pool of ink and still there's not a lot of bleed through. And yes, I forgot to show this. No bleed through on 100 GSM, by the way. No bleed through at all. And yes, this is how dirty my desk looks. Actually, it looks this dirty. Okay, so you are not alone. I think that's all there's to it for today. I have a few more inks, actually 14 of them. I'll try to review some of them in the future. So I'll keep you posted. And that all being said, I'll bring this video to focus and bye bye, kind of, if the world doesn't end,